the Football Pod on Off the Ball in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships. Hashtag the toughest.
How's it going? You're very welcome along to the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews and James Donoghue. Lads, there's a little bit of excitement and giddiness in the pod. I think it's because we've had another good weekend of Gaelic football, right?
That's all.
This is the norm. This is the norm now, yeah.
Nah, you boys were. It was a slog last year for you. I remember coming on
That's
here.
Last year was terrible.
Yeah.
This year, different grade. Proper games, proper things to talk about, new things, exciting football. It's a great game.
Not every game, but the majority of games we're seeing, particularly over the first 3 weekends of this National League, have been brilliant. You know, the rules well and truly into gear. Still some poor enough game. Like I watched Mayo Tyrone, wasn't a classic yesterday in Castlebar. Mayo got the job done eventually, but Galway Derry
they needed to do whatever
they needed to grind out a win. Galway Derry probably wasn't great, but then we see Monaghan and the Rossies put on a bit of a show as well. Dublin Kerry was obviously a cracker on Saturday night as well. So we're just seeing better games, T. That's the excitement. You can't come on talking about fucking 7-8, these type of matches. We're getting good games every week. That's half the battle.
And you're getting great individual performances because of the chances, the space, the opportunities to kick long distance scores. It just plays into the great players' hands, I think. Even someone like Shane Walsh there is just he's gonna have a great year, I think.
He's moving well, isn't he? To be fair to him.
He's moving well, but he doesn't even have to move that well because his skills are so on point. His kicking is so sweet. It's like McIlroy's driving. Like he just hits it out the sweet spot every time. Like he could have a great year this year if he stays fit.
I agree. Diarmuid Murtagh is somebody who's shooting the lights out. He actually became Roscommon's record point scorer at the weekend. He had 4 2-pointers in the second half.
But is that like? Does he get like 8 points goes out to his tally for Roscommon? Yes.
Well, he was going to surpass that anyway. Do you know before the 2-pointer?
Well, it's not. It's apples and oranges now.
Killian O'Connor's record is absolutely going to be smashed to smithereens.
He's rethinking his year out. He's mad to go back now. Killian's got to go back to keep his hands on that record. Like
you two boys were prolific enough for a couple of years of county football. You're going to be wiped from the record books. That's what's going to happen.
Paddy, I wasn't high up anyway. But anyway,
Paddy, I just want to let you know that
the streets never forget, Tom.
They don't. James.
That is true.
And there's always new ways to write yourself into the history books, Paddy. I made a bit of history this week. James, I think you made a little bit of history too. You might want to fill in the listeners.
I knew you'd start with this, Tommy.
Come on. Apparently there's video footage too. I'm waiting for the Mona Lean team to send it on.
You fisted a point, wasn't it, Tom, from outside the big arc? The first fella to fist a point, 2-pointer.
2-pointer. He rang me yesterday, Jimmy, and I'm there. It was like Christmas morning for him. I was like, what does this fucker want? Oh, he was like, you could hear the giddiness through the phone. Like,
black card.
Excitement. Forget about the black cards. 2-pointers all the way now. Do you know what? I was disappointed. It was only a challenge game. There wasn't even umpires there. There was no orange flag waved. But I was. Was
it actually a 2-pointer? Was it really a 2-pointer?
Yeah. I was late for the hide. So the best part of it was that I could just run to the sideline straight after kicking and said, "Take me off! I've got to go." So there was a little bit of drama with that. So I kicked our first 2-pointer for Cratloe. James, you had a similar enough story, did you, with the Legion?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through
your first 2-pointer,
how that went down?
First 2-pointer ever in the Theatre of Dreams, as we call it, Doreen, the Legion Field.
When was it?
No, it was last...
Field called? That's my wife's name.
The Theatre of Dreams.
No, not that. I don't call my wife the Theatre of Dreams.
That's a cute nickname.
Yeah, it's Valentine's Day on Friday. Doreen. Your pitch is called Doreen.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go, man. I'll have to bring her down the next time down in Kerry.
Erreen, Doreen.
But slightly different.
So talk us through it. What happened?
Oh, it was a beaut.
I'd love someone to write in and just verify both of these stories. Like,
no, I kicked the 2-pointer early in the game, but as I kicked it, I tweaked the hammer on the other leg. So
the other leg, the standing leg. Gee.
Yeah, I did the same as Tommy. I just walked off. It was like, who does this fella think he is?
Story of your life.
But I was like, yeah, story of my life. But I was very early in the season.
2-pointer and a figure wag.
I should
wait for the weather to get better. Exactly. When Diarmuid Murtagh said it, I was chatting to him after the game. He goes, the arc actually doesn't seem that far out, but he goes, just wait until we get to the summer and the ball's moving that bit quicker. He said, look, it's going to reward footballers and the skills and being sharp and all that sort of aspects. But yeah, as we said, lads, really
do we
exciting
like it though? Do we like the
game
2
was great,
pointer?
lads. The game was great. I love the 2 pointer.
2 pointers.
2 pointers, massive.
It's
But
class.
even there's still people turning down a lot of opportunities for it.
I think
Conditions though, that's the conditions. Is like you see in Tralee and something like the wind there, the wind in McHale Park as well. Like say what Murtagh said there, when it's summertime, the ball's just flying along. I do think conditions still have a bit to play in white players. You look at Mayo yesterday, Jesus. They were turning down a lot of potential scores, not even 2 pointers inside the arc. So you can just tell conditions are still very difficult for players.
But you talk about the ball flying. Do you remember Rian O'Neill's point against Kerry last year?
55 yards, was it?
He tipped it, and it was that sweet spot again. But I think the Brian Howard for Dublin turned down. I'd say he turned down 10.
The outside of the right, he does like an outside.
Second half. First half, it was never on for Dublin. The second half, he was on that arc line constantly. And I was thinking, if he felt a bit sharper, or maybe if the body was in a better place, he would have got 10 points because he would have had 4 or 5 2-pointers. Honestly, it's mad the way it's gone, but like.
Well, you still have to be smart, right? Now, I did kick a 2.
You don't want to take crazy shots.
I also took a shot against the wind, which I possibly shouldn't have done, but I didn't think I was going to get to play the second half, so had to.
Stop your head to go.
Did you drop
20 yards short. It didn't even make it into the 21. Like.
No, just trailed wide. Lads, let's just get into the results here, right? I want to start with Division 4. Wexford are running away with it.
Yeah.
2-12 to 9 points win against Carlow. Brilliant stuff. Limerick had their first win in about 2 years. They bet London 116-11, so they have themselves in the mix for promotion. Tipperary have had a good start. They bet Waterford in a refix game. It was meant to be the Saturday evening. It was moved to the Sunday. 114 to 9 points. So Waterford had a couple of good performances early on, but that's 3 defeats in a row. And Wicklow did more than enough to get by Longford. Longford had a tough start to the year, 215 to 12 points. Division 3 is where it gets interesting. Flagged this last week that Sligo were in a bit of bother. I had also kind of said that Sligo were one of my promotional hopefuls at the start of the year, but they've lost their opening 3 games. Laois posted 23 points against them. Mark Barry is flying, 23 to 16. Offaly, I thought they might get caught this weekend. I thought the momentum might stall. A 4-19 to 15 win against Antrim with 2 players sent off. Clare, speaking to a couple of people this weekend, Clare were incredibly heavily fancied to take care of Fermanagh, and they were very lucky to get over the line on this one. I think Fermanagh had a late shot on goal that hit the post and hit both posts actually, but they won that one by 2 points. And then Leitrim, I think they were 40 to 1 on earlier in the week. They weren't given a hope. It's a young Leitrim side, a couple of talented players that have done very well in the Sigerson during the week. Tom Pryor in particular stood out. They have a couple of injuries. Kildare ripped them asunder, 127 to 7 points, so a 23-point win there for Kildare.
The Lilies are moving.
They're moving, but it's Division 3. Let's not forget about it.
Yeah,
Moving on
look, they were struggling last year. No.
True. Moving on to Division 2. Couple of big results here. Did you get a chance to catch some of the goals in the Westmeath Cork game? There were 6 goals in this game at the weekend. It was an absolute belter.
I tipped Chris O'Jones.
When? About 2
years
ago.
3 years ago.
No, I'm not giving you that.
I said he could be a goal machine in the better team. I tell you, he has a knack of it.
You want to be? He's 29 now. I'm only joking.
Yeah, I know, but
Tommy, your editing you sent through on WhatsApp was pretty poor now, but anyway, we got the message.
Sorry, lads. I knew you hadn't spotted it, but
his last goal.
I loved it.
It was serious finish.
Yeah, class.
Because he definitely gave the eyes to the keeper. I think he was going to go across the body and just. He kind of hit.
Do you think he gave the eyes to the keeper, or he just put the laces through?
He's a natural goal scorer, Paddy. I don't think you should be taking any credit.
I'm sure it's Jimmy. I'm just asking the question here. I'm asking the question the listeners are asking.
That was the best finish he could. The only way he could have bettered that finish was if he opened the body and did a left leg into the far
curler. Thierry Henry, top corner.
That would have been. The conditions would have been very tough. Plus, he's right-legged. I thought it was a sensational finish. Top corner on your side.
Class. Yeah.
It's always the place to beat the keeper as well because he's expecting.
They're not expecting, aren't they? Yeah.
High in the near post.
Matty Taylor punched a lot of holes. I think he was involved in two of the goals. Matthew Whitaker from Westmeath is a footballer well worth keeping an eye on. He's been brilliant. He scored a goal, set up another, and then the McCartan brothers kicked a number of 2-pointers as well. Westmeath have been so unlucky. Paddy, did I hear a rumour you're on off the ball breakfast tomorrow morning for the power rankings?
I am. I didn't realise the power rankings are. So you're back on tomorrow.
I'm back, buddy.
Wow. Okay. Right. I need to be prepared
You
for
kept
that.
them the same for the last 20 weeks.
Well,
Yeah. Have you changed
20
anything this time? Yeah.
There's 24 teams in the move this time, so there's a lot
Oh
to keep up with.
wow, you've been busy.
Speaking
Well,
of teams,
I'll review them in the morning then. Yeah, I will.
You'll have
Speaking of
Mead.
teams-
You'll have Mead in the top
Mead or
6
top 10.
anyway. After
speaking of teams on the move, Mead, 24 points to 118 win against Down. Conor Laverty's first defeat in Park Esther as Down manager, and by God did the Royals earn it. Jordan Morris shooting the lights out. He got hot. Owen Frayne, Mead's young captain this year, another brilliant footballer. So it's suiting them two boys down to the ground, but it's the size, lads. And I know you haven't had a chance to have a look at the Mead team yet, but it's the biggest Mead team I can remember for an awful long time. They got Brian Menton back in midfield, who wasn't available the last couple of years. Jack Flynn is in midfield, who was man of the match, or certainly phenomenal in that Tailteann Cup final win a couple of years ago. Didn't play last year. Ronan Jones is playing along the half-forward line. He's been very good this year. He's sharper, he's leaner. And they've got two young lads from their 20s last year who were big units, Connor Duke and Jack Kinlock. Robbie Brennan has targeted size. And the coaching team that he's got there, and Joe McMahon and Martin Corey, you can already see the hallmarks of what they're doing. So pleasantly very impressed with how Mead are going, but their big test is this weekend. They're up against the high flyers, the Rossies. 25 points to 214. The baggies of Gaelic football, as Paddy Andrews christened them over the last couple of years. They're on their way back up to Division 1. I think they've won Division 2 4 times in the last decade.
Incredible. What a run.
But Paddy, I'm telling you, there's something about Roscommon this year. You were laughing a couple of weeks ago when I said my team to watch. There's something about them this year. I think they're going to push it further than they've pushed it before. They've got depth and they've got quality.
So what's further than before? Could they win the Connacht Championship? Of course they could. We always say that with them. They've got unbelievable forwards, never in doubt. But what's success? You expect them to go up from Division 2, and like I said, they've already. You would say that the Monaghan game was probably the toughest one on paper in it, and they navigated that yesterday. Could they win the Connacht title? Potentially.
Wouldn't be surprised to see
where else could they go to?
Semi-final. In an
All-Ireland semi-finals, you're saying? That's a big...
Think of Monaghan down the stretch, level with the Dubs in 2023 All-Ireland semi-final with 8 or 9 minutes to go. I think Roscommon have the players, the bottle, the credentials. Now, I'm whispering and I'm not saying it too loudly, but I'm just impressed with what we're seeing so far. It is still February though.
And you have to remember too as well, just a quick one, the last 2 All-Ireland champions have both been from Division 2. So
yeah. That's an interesting.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. I'm not sure I got off that.
Even last year, they lost to Armagh, didn't they? In the
quarterfinal. Yeah, they were just
preliminary quarters. It was preliminary quarters.
No.
Or was it
All-Ireland quarterfinal. Cambridge.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but
look,
they
they're
played
hot
well.
lads.
That's it. They got a man sent off. Remember in the first half for 2 yellows. They were always in that game. Then they chipped the ball out to Turbot, I think, for an easy goal. Like they weren't that far off last year even, and they had a nightmare league.
Yeah.
So you think they've been of confidence to go a long way from.
But do you think
there's energy about them?
The 2-point arc, they've got forwards who could take advantage of that. Like you said, the rules were all brought in. Nearly every one of them was around enhancing skill in the game, rewarding skillful play, and the Rossies have never been short of that up front. So they've had a good start to the season. Davy Brooks will be very, very happy with those first 3 weekends.
There's an energy.
They got Rory Fallon sent off after 34 minutes of the quarterfinal last year.
They were in the mix
when they were 2 points down.
Good knowledge, Jimmy. There's Google there.
That's Scorpio. Scorpio, I'll tell you what. Shout out to Scorpio. Game changer for the National League.
Are you an ambassador for them as well as the furniture shop?
It is brilliant. It's a brilliant setup. Finally in Division 2, just a big win for Cavan, 315 to 18 points. Their keeper, Niall McDonald, Louth's keeper, got cut out twice. Conor Madden, we saw this kind of come into effect here. So the keeper has to kick the ball beyond the 40-metre arc. The defender can't touch it, but the forward can intercept it as long as it's gone 13 metres. Conor Madden intercepts it inside the arc and scores from 40 yards, lobbing the keeper. And then Garrod McKiernan's going for a point and it drops in, but Cavan won't complain. A huge win for him against Louth and Breffni. And then into Division 1, right? We mentioned Derry and Galway, a draw. Derry digging it out in the end, probably could have won it. Galway were very impressive in that first half. We mentioned the excitement, the buzz, the electricity in Austin Sack Park, James. Myself and yourself were there and we experienced it. And we might come back to that in a couple of minutes. In Mayo and Tyrone, only 6,000 turned up to this. There was 12,000 at this corresponding fixture last year. Only 6,000 turned up this time. Maybe that's more to say about where Mayo and Tyrone are at the moment. But Mayo getting over the line, a crucial win for them. And then, lads, this is where we're starting this week. I say 15 minutes into the pod. Donegal, 21 points. Armagh, 110. But should we just go to the 44th minute of this game? Andrew Murnan's after kicking a 2-pointer. Paddy McBurty responds. And Michael Murphy makes his comeback.
Some roar, wasn't it?
Unbelievable.
Marco Materazzi, as he could be called from now on.
What did we think, lads? Come on. What do we think?
I thought
Is it the main talking point from the weekend?
the red card.
No, Murphy's return is Murphy-mania.
But that's part of the incident.
He looked
Murphy
trim.
comes back onto the pitch.
He looked
He
fit.
looks,
He looked trim.
doesn't he? He looks lean, like he's lost a lot of weight. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like smaller, or not smaller. That was the word. Thinner
leaner, sharper,
than even when he was playing. I know he's out 2 years, but he came on. It was a bit of magic, wasn't it? Like I think everyone around the country has been waiting to see Murphy back in action, and they've kept him till round 3. But the roar, watching it on the telly, I'd say it was some buzz in Ballybofey, and then the incident just. Yeah. I thought it was actually soft, to be honest. I was surprised he sent Forker off.
No, he had to go. He had to.
Like,
And we're
fans
of Forker. We're fans of Forker here, like, but
but it was like handbags.
Every
like.
kid, it was.
He shouldn't have done it.
I think
he shouldn't have done it. Like there was no point in doing it.
Almost messing in the end.
Yeah.
I can't move this fella. I'm just gonna nod him with the head. But every school, there'd be fellas headbutting each other into the chest if we didn't send them off. Do you know, in the yard.
You've gone like this is Helen Lovejoy from The Simpsons. Please think of the children, like.
But if he didn't
he shouldn't have done it. I don't know why he did it, but I thought Hurst. I was surprised. Like Murphy didn't even feel it. Like
Stonewall red card.
Did you see the video from Neil Loughran posted it?
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
And did you see the Donegal bench?
Yes, right in.
Bananas,
yeah, everyone did.
Yeah,
it was just so like innocuous. Do you remember the old? Like, I hate this guy, Joey Barton. Remember he was sent off for QPR that day, last day of the season against City, and he just went off on one. I always say, if you're gonna get sent off, just go down in a blaze of glory, like go all in, like. And it was just so soft in the end, like.
Yeah,
it was just
no value for it at all.
No, exactly, like Murphy didn't even feel that, like. But just for Forker, we said this. It's another bit of discipline for Armagh. You know, don't like beating this drum. Like, but the first night they were well beaten by Galway. Man sent off. It was just that craziness from the captain. Like, just like.
But he plays on the edge. He always has done.
But he's so experienced. He's so experienced, and it's like I get like Murphy's coming on. Like, why bother with any of that stuff? Like, it's just nonsense. It's irrelevant in the end. But to then just has a moment of madness. Like, he gives the referee a reason to kind of send them off. I still thought it was soft because it was so innocuous. But
no, it had to happen.
I think he had to go. It was so silly though. So no, he got nothing for it. Murphy didn't even, he just turned around. Murphy was like, "What is going on here?"
That was the best part, and he never was going to hit the deck, but doesn't even budge.
No.
There's no need for a dive.
If he did go down like Zidane and
he couldn't have done it.
That would have been.
But come here, the kick out was chipped to him. The kick out chipped to him, and you're thinking, is he going to lob him here? I was like, Murph, outside of the right, lob the keeper here for a goal. He nearly fucking fell over before he took the shot on his left foot, but what an impact he had. Like, I'd say the buzz he must have been feeling there from the crowd, and then to come on and have the impact, the one-handed catch, it was right or over stuff from Murphy. Jesus, what an addition. Even if he gets nowhere near the heights that he reached before, what a boost for that Donegal team. If you're a player on that team, like Oisín Gallen, even McBrearty, guys who've soldiered with him before, what a lift his return gives you as a player, gives the coaches, gives the supporters. It was a brilliant cameo.
Yeah, they were on it, lads. Like, Conor O'Donnell is a fella, and Peter Canavan highlighted him on the Sunday game last night. He's a fella that really impressed me. He wore 11 on his back, but he's just one of these classy Donegal players that can run all day. He's 2-footed. Jim McGuinness actually spoke a lot about his comeback in the middle of last summer. He was like, we can't wait to get Conor O'Donnell back. And there's a clatter of O'Donnells in the Donegal panel. So you're like, which one is this one? Like,
Daniel O'Donnell.
You know, there's a lot of them up there, you know. But this lad, he was out injured for a year. He's a young player from England, out injured for a year. Suffered a bad injury in a warm-up, I think, against Monaghan the previous summer. spent 52 weeks out. Wait till you see this lad in action. He's going to be another quality addition.
He was brilliant against Kerry and Kilkenny as well.
Yeah.
First half, he was best player on the field in the first half. He was outstanding. Great movement, great balance as well. Takes on his man, gets shots off. Serious operator.
Super footballer. And Finbar Rorty, I've mentioned him a few times. Just 18 years of age. This lad looks like he's ready to rock in senior football. So a lot of impressive young lads coming through for Donegal. They've taken down the last 3 All-Ireland champions in their opening 3 league games, lads. It's hard to quell the hype.
It's a good start to the league.
Yeah, I pointed this out last night, and Johnny Murtagh, former Crossmaglen and Armagh footballer, said, please stop embarrassing yourself, Tommy. The one at home to an Armagh B team. But it is hard to ditch the hype around this Donegal side at the minute. They're moving so well. Everything is working. They've got Michael Murphy back. He's fitter. He's leaner looking. Gallen and McBurty. Like, I've never seen McBurty moving as well as he has done in the last couple of years.
I think it's no harm either this year to be going well early, and because there's going to be so many questions to be answered during the summer in terms of style of play and rules and stuff. If you're trying to get fit and sharp at the same time, it's nearly good to have one thing settled early, and like they're bouncing. But they were in Dubai in early December. Like they've got, I can imagine the amount of work they've done. So they will be bouncing, and the season is so short. Like they need to get fellas, they need to get a big panel of 25 or 28 who are going to be available to start matches to be strong in the summer. But no, I think it's no harm to be going well early. Have a confidence.
If you looked at the start of the league, there was a big focus on Donegal, that we felt they were going to have a strong season, that they were going to kick on another gear, like the Ulster champions and All-Ireland semi-finalists last year. They seem to have got injuries tidied up. They've got Murphy back, obviously, and just building on what McGuinness brought in 2024. And you have to say, what we've seen over the first 3 weekends, they've been living up to that expectation. It's still very early days. There's still lots of different teams at different stages in their development. But from what we've seen across the divisions so far, you can't but be impressed with what Donegal have done. Winning down to Kilkenny, taking care of Dublin, and then comprehensively beat. I know Armagh are probably not in a great spot at the minute, but comprehensively beating them. Like, they couldn't have asked really for a better start to the 2025 campaign. So can they keep the show on the road? They put themselves in a really good position, and you'd say they maybe have a little bit of a leg up on where a lot of other teams are, maybe the exception of Galway, who have also been very impressive so far. But
those two,
it's
those
a good
two are meeting in Salt Hill this Sunday, so I'll be at that one for off the ball. So
the only thing about Donegal, Tom, they're not playing. They're still playing kind of the old rules in a way. Now a lot of teams are, but they're not moving the ball that fast with the foot yet. And we always said that they have the attributes to do that. But in the Dublin game, the Kerry game, and the Armagh game, they very much transitioned with the hand up the field, kind of cautiously. I think if you're going to rack up big scores in the summer and get goals especially, I think it will have to be more.
But you know what, Jimmy?
And they've had goals so far, James. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I highlighted it last week as well, and they've got such a strong running game. They've players that they're really clinical with the ball. They wait for teams to switch off, and they get the overlap. Then they have that pace, the likes of McHugh, the likes of Bon Gallagher, and these guys. I would expect that we will see that being developed. I wouldn't say no more than any team are kind of showing their hand fully at this stage of the season, but if you're thinking of teams that have the attributes to play that kicking game, I thought it was I thought they were missing it in 2024, and that was a big reason why I didn't feel they go on and win the whole thing. They still had a very good campaign, but I think we will see that from Donegal as the season wears on, because they've got the players to do it. And again, if you've got Murphy and Oisin Gallen inside, McBurty in there with them, I think we will start seeing some long kick passes going inside as well. So
I think you'll have to play.
I'd watch the space for them. Yeah,
like if you're talking about a team that has that nailed right, the expansive play, kick passing in Croke Park in the summer, as you say, the ball flying higher ground, there are going to be massive scores racked up. Like it's going to be in the 30s. I think you might see a team get 127 or 224. Like it's going to come in that high.
But look at the scores now, Jimmy. Look at the scores being racked up now in February.
Yeah,
if you're shitty pitches and bad conditions, like it's
So if you're moving the ball slowly in Croke Park, you might be fine. You might score plenty, but like if another team is transitioning quickly, they're going to rack up a monumental score against you. That's the That's it. I think the ball has to be kicked. No, it's obviously early in the year to be doing it, but the scoring potential is just huge.
We're also seeing the impact of the kick out as well. Like if you're able to put a squeeze in the team and you're getting your shots off quickly and you're penning them in, you can rack up a big score very, very quickly. James, can I just get you briefly on you were keeping an eye on Derry and Galway as well before the game in Austin Stack Park. Give us your summation of that one, because Derry desperately needed a result there. They were unlucky against Kerry. They were in the mix against Tyrone until the last 10 minutes. And they lost both of those games late on. So they kind of salvaged it. They flipped it around on its head this time. Like they were down at half time and they came back.
They did. I was disappointed in them in the first half. I don't think they came out with enough. It's like they didn't have enough fight or something. They were just kind of going through the motions a bit. And it was only when they realised, we're in trouble here, that they actually stepped up and played to their capabilities. And on the flip side, Galway had the game won and just stopped playing completely. So it was very much like a lot of games at the moment. It was a game of two halves. But I must say, Derry had a great comeback, but like Shane Walsh's kicking performance was just worth watching it alone. No, Galway didn't actually kick a lot. What did they come in with the end? Was it 113 or was it
really
113?
Old rules type scoring, yeah.
And Walsh had 3 2-pointers, so like they actually only kicked. They didn't kick much, but like every chance he got, it was just the sweet spot of the ball. I think he's gone so well this year that he's going to be such an ace in the pack for Galway.
Well, he always is, Jimmy. Do you know what I mean? He's so influential for Galway. When he goes well, they move up a level. When he doesn't perform, and unfortunately, you look at the big games last season, he didn't get to that level, and Galway drop back. He's so important to that team. I think the rules will favour someone like him because he's got all the skills.
Massively.
But if Galway, make no bones about it, it's the All-Ireland or bust for them, having lost 2 of the last 3 finals. If they're going to get there, he needs to have that form on the biggest days. And that's always the question mark with Shane. Is he going to show up today and light it up? Because if he does, he's so difficult to contain, particularly with these new rules.
To be fair to
him, exceptional.
To be fair to him, injuries definitely hampered him last year. You could see it watching him physically, and Kim
a lot of miles on the clock with Crokes as well. Yeah.
But I
so
don't think
he's had that bit of a break, and like you look at Michael Murphy and you're asking how maybe he looks better than he did back in 2022. Michael Murphy was plagued with injuries towards the end of his career, and he's had a chance now. And it's impressive the manner in which he's got himself into the shape that he's in. But having that little break, David Clifford now has come back after an extended
refresh.
Break. A couple of minutes the weekend. Aidan O'Shea is back after a break. We're going to see Con soon. We're going to see the Errol Kieran boys back soon. All the players are starting to come back now, James. So
it's only going to get better.
A bit of freshness is going to pay off down the summer.
It is definitely. But for the 3 inside, right, especially, I think you can mind your body a lot if you're a kicker. Because the couple of balls that Shane Walsh got that he swung over 2-pointers, if that was last year, he'd have had to try and get the ball somehow closer to the goal to take the percentage shot, the term that we hate, right? But he would have. But now he can get
I don't hate the percentage shot.
Everyone hates it, Paddy.
Mind the ball and the percentage shot. I enjoy that.
Oh, no. But he was getting
you were hit with that all the time because you're a shooter. You shoot from the hip, don't you?
Mind the shot. Mind the ball.
That was battered out of you.
Your favourite shot was from the right, with the right from like the 21.
From the stand, sitting in the stand.
I can only imagine how Jim Gavin programmed you not to pull the trigger.
It was years in the making.
But Walsh, the point I make is Walsh got the ball a couple of times. All he had to do was a dummy hop or maybe shimmy the hips, make the space for the shot and pull the trigger. He actually cut down a lot of the workload to get the shot off because he can risk the shot from the 2-point arc. So I think for Murphy and Walsh and these fellas, the load on the body in terms of taking on a man and trying to work the percentage shot is gone. So it might suit them in terms of...
But also to track it back to them. They don't have to keep running back into their own half. That's a massive change in terms of... You look at... There's a lot of talk around, stats and kind of distance covered and high-speed running and things like that. It's down inside. Like for the full forward line, their distance covered, their high-speed runs, it's much lower because they're not having to basically do mass runs up and down the pitch running after quarterbacks. So it's definitely heavier for the guys around the middle third. There's probably less of a break because any frees, it's just solo and go straight away. The kickouts are all getting off quicker. But definitely for guys inside, in the inside line, they're getting the chance to maybe get a little bit more of a breather than they would have under the old system.
Yeah.
Just
James,
finally on the Derry Galway game, Tom, Lachlan Murray came on and he looks sharp. No,
It'll be a big year
missed
for
a
him,
couple
his
of-
speed and everything. Yeah.
He was offended.
He was
offended not to start.
Was he? Well, he's still he's actually one of my favourite players. The way he plays,
He's
the game.
exciting. He is exciting.
His skills looked not his skills. His shooting looked a little bit off. John, I think he fisted a point wide as well at one stage and kicked a bad shot wide. But he's so sharp and low to the ground, taking men on. I think the new rules will suit him down to the ground.
It'd be a horror show to mark. Yeah, horror show.
I'd be playing him 70 minutes across the board. I think he is a super player.
Can I ask you just briefly, like we will get a better look at them this weekend against Donegal, but three of the kind of newer players in Galway's forward line. Finian O'Lee is a very interesting profile of footballer, kind of a slender number 11. Kieran O'Curran was being taken frees inside. I'm not sure how much he stood out this weekend, but he's kind of shot the lights out recently. And Sam O'Neill, same club as Paul Conroy, young man, very big. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, but have any of them caught the eye yet, James, or do we need to see a bit more?
Yeah, we need to see a bit more. I'm definitely I like to see fellas get 10 or 12 games under the belt before you really see their personalities come out and their confidence levels. So, and as well, I think playing with Comer, when Comer's back in there in the mix, like there was a couple of times where the ball was on to the penalty spot, maybe top of the D, but they didn't have that style of player. Even if Comer was there to get it, you've these fellas coming off and it kind of involves them more. So I think that's the one thing that Galway are missing at the moment, that focal point in full forward, and it'll bring everyone along with them.
It takes pressure off those younger players as well. No more so we said what Murphy, the impact he'll have, and the likes of Gallen and these guys in Donegal as well. Having that focal point, it just draws the opposition. One, they're key man markers, but their whole defence, when those guys have the ball, the defence nearly collapses in around them and just creates gaps and opportunities for other players as well. So
we'll press pause on that chat. I want to come back to it for the end of the pod because we're going to take a quick break here on the Football Pod. It's brought to you every week with thanks to AIB, proud sponsors of the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. Check out hashtag the toughest for more. This is the Football Pod. It's the first of our two pods this week. James and Paddy, hang tight. We are heading to Tralee after this. You're very welcome back to the Football Pod with Paddy and James and myself, Tommy. I was sort of playing down this Kerry Dublin game this weekend. I was heading down to it. I wasn't overly excited. Then next thing, it's a sellout on the Saturday morning. There wasn't a spare seat in the house. Maybe one or two spare seats in the house. But it was a cracker. It was really exciting. James, I want to come to you. Paddy, will I come to you first? Or no, I'll go to James first on this one.
Happy enough how it went.
At least the Jubs showed up in the second half. I'm only joking. James, I'll be honest. I kind of slept on Dublin a little bit in this game. I got caught up in the 112 to 4-point scoreline. I'm looking at the wind. I can see it's strong. I wasn't sure how significant it was, but felt like Kerry were lording it in the air. It looked like they had a stronger team on paper. Their first score, they didn't touch the ball for 2 minutes. Sean Bugler hits the post. They hit 4 kick passes and a hand pass. Michael Burns could have squared it for a goal. He fisted over the bar. But they got a score within about 10 seconds of getting their hands on the ball, and they dominated that first half. I can't imagine, though, they're very happy with losing 2 games back-to-back at home in the league, and that Dublin team beating them.
I agree. I think it was a huge win for that Dublin team. Like, if you looked at that Dublin team on paper, it wasn't full of the household names. It seems like a team in transition. You're not supposed to go down to your biggest rivals and beat them away on a Saturday night under lights. You know, it's a big win for Dublin. Like, it's a bigger win and a plus for Dublin than it is a downer for Kerry. Kerry can come back from that, no problem. They'll learn. But like, the boost that Dublin will get from that result is incredible. Like, even their supporters were so boisterous after the game, so loud. They went behind the goal. I don't think they were expecting to win that game. Like, they were buzzing after it. They went up the road happy. But the way the game panned out, I knew at halftime Kerry didn't have enough scores on the board because of the strength of the wind. Like, I think it might have been hard. Yeah, it might have been hard to actually see on telly how strong that wind was. The goalposts were shaking. And Dublin did something very clever in the first half, I think, whether it was by design or not, they kept the ball for really long spells in Kerry's half. And what it did was stopped Kerry attacking with the wind. And even if Dublin didn't get a score, they were still in possession, in control of the game. And then every time Kerry did get the ball back, the wind was such an advantage that they were able to get a score easily enough. But Dublin really stopped Kerry's attack by holding the ball.
I don't know how intentional that may have been, Jimmy. I like the big question mark with Dublin in the first half. You're right in terms of the expectations from there was a massive Dublin crowd down. We said it last week on the show. We felt it would be a big ask for Dublin to go and win down there. But the first half, you felt our Dublin being a bit too passive, that they didn't have that punch, that real intent in their attack. I get it. It's very difficult to play against such a stiff breeze that you need to work the ball in so close to actually just get a good shot off. But I don't actually think Dublin were, I could be wrong, but I don't think they were intentionally keeping the ball, this big plot that, okay, we'll keep it away from Kerry, and then when we have the wind, we'll be able to bring a lot more intensity and punch into our play. And ultimately, at half time, I was not as confident. I was kind of going, this is maybe the way we expected this game to go. It was going to be a big ask. And I think Dublin deserve massive, massive credit. And particularly a lot of, like the older guys, you can see how influential they are already. The likes of Brian Howard, Kieran Kilkenny around the middle third, just getting on top around the middle and then using the ball really, really well. And then younger guys coming in. You spoke with Bugler after the match, Tommy. Like he said it himself. And we've seen this across the weekend again. That like these strike runners coming at real pace, it's such a weapon because there's more space. Whereas before you're just running into traffic. Bugler, we see Conor McCarthy do for Monaghan yesterday in the high. These runners from deep with real pace, they are causing havoc for opponents' teams. And for Bugler to get man of the match again, a second one in the open 3 rounds, I thought the second half was unbelievably positive for Dublin. Those more established guys, but then Larkin O'Dell, Luke Brannock and these guys, young players coming in, going into as hard a National League game as you're going to get away to Kerry and pulling out brilliant scores. I thought it was, for what looked like it could be a bit of a disaster for Dublin halfway through, that turned into a massive, massive result for everyone in that group.
Yeah, Brannock is one of the footballers around the country that has used the first 3 games to show that he can offer something in the championship.
He's a good player. I'm telling you, I seen him with the 20s for a couple of seasons. He's a smart player at how he moves. He's got skills, obviously, but
he's got bottle as well, though.
Yeah, he's just he looks like he plays like he plays more experienced. He moves, he knows how to find space, he's elusive, and it doesn't seem to bother him. Just pop it into me. I'll clip that over. He was good with UCD. Tough. The UCD were well beaten in the Sigerson final in the end last week, but he was good for them again. So
he feels like the quintessential Dublin forward, chest out. All he needs is maybe some bleached highlights. James, just let's go back to that, because Jack O'Connor was raging after the game, but more so in the sense that he didn't think they'd put up enough scores in the first half. Sean O'Shea got a couple of 2-pointers, they missed a couple of goal chances, but just the point you're making there about, like, it should have been 11v11 or a 12v11, when Dublin were attacking slowly. Should Kerry not have pushed out more aggressively and tried to take the ball off them in that first half?
I think so. But that's why I think there's still so many learnings in this. I mean, the only way to stop it would be because if the opposition bring up their goalie like Dublin did, they have the one-person overload. Like Shane Ryan as Kerry goalie would have had to come out and mark someone and push maybe that defender onto someone else and get man on man. But Dublin were able to actually hold the ball and recycle it so often. And unless you're actually tuned in for that, you can just let it happen. It would have nearly been better if Kerry had fouled, let Dublin have a shot at the posts, and then Kerry had gone back on the attack and pinned Dublin in the way that Dublin pinned Kerry in the second half. Because in the second half, it came down, and we can say Dublin are great and all this, it came down to kickouts. Like, there was no big creativity from Dublin, the way they transitioned the ball, or they didn't kick to the top of the D and get runners off, or kick to the 40. They pinned Kerry's kickout with an overload, and Bugler, Kilkenny, Howard ran the show. Like, showed leadership, showed experience, showed cuteness, showed everything you'd want to in an away game in the National League. But, like, it came down to the kickout.
But why did Kerry keep going the same way? That's what I felt. Like, Shane Ryan went to the stand, I think maybe twice, and Kerry won one of them anyway.
Yeah. Well, I
Was it
don't
the
know. They
conditions?
obviously had this. I'd imagine they had this work done, but this might not even be a flaw in the rules. But the fact is that when a team is under pressure like that, maybe against the wind, you're kicking the ball out. You're being overloaded against because the opposition keeper is coming up. So you're down. It's like having a man sent off. You're down a man underneath the kick out. If like Dublin brought up their keeper, Comerford, and had an extra man under every kick out. And in fairness, Kerry won a few but couldn't transition properly. But every one that Dublin won, they were so cute with it and so smart.
Yeah, they were. But like, let's not forget, like, they're taking a risk with that. Like, Conor Carroll got caught out again at the weekend. Rory Began should have been caught out 3 times in the Roscommon Monaghan game by creating that overload. Like, I just don't think teams have cracked that short kick out. And I know the conditions played a massive thing.
Conditions are influencing this more than it will in the summer as well. Yeah,
I think so. Like,
But as well,
I think
what's
the 12v11 is a bigger deal than some people are making. I'm not convinced that it's a killer yet. Like,
I think it's a huge deal. But the goalies,
I think it's good.
The goalies, some of them can't see the second arc. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're inside in the goals.
What do you mean? They're too small.
No, but you can see the first arc, the D, but the second arc is too far away to actually see exactly where it is. You know, like it's been in for so little. They don't have their kickouts
range,
kind of.
like.
But you know the way it's in your brain, it's like
Yes.
I have to kick it this hard. Like they don't have those kind of done enough time. They don't have enough reps in the locker, I think, to actually be able to gauge it. And there was a couple of times where Kerry probably had a kick out on straight to the top of the arc, but against the wind, you nearly had to rifle it at him, and then you're risking hands and everything in the conditions. So
I think conditions played a big part in that as well.
Yeah,
like.
it
was
did.
very, very difficult to get kickouts off, and like I say, if you're in a Dublin shoes, 100% you're pushing up there. Like the kickout's just going to hang. Dublin had it the week before in the first half of Ballybofey. Gavin Sheridan was in goal, and Donegal just eviscerated the kickouts because they could just push right up. The ball was just going to hang there in the loop, and they've numbers coming onto it. And we've seen the influence. We said it every show so far this season. Teams get on top around the middle. It puts a stranglehold on the game. It's so hard for teams to get out. So we'll see more innovation throughout the league. Teams are going to have to find a way of securing a kick out when the pressure's on. They need some sort of set play to get the ball off to someone. But I do think conditions. Basically, every weekend in the league so far, there's been games playing and Gale Force wins. You know, it's so hard to get the ball out.
We're going to have that this time of the year. So, 100%.
It'll be better for the summer. But it was key for the Dubs on Saturday. Huge. That stranglehold around the middle, and you'll see those experienced guys. Howard, you know, he's such a go-to guy. And our own kickouts with Cluxton, how many times is he the man that gets free? He's not actually, you know, he's not a 6'4", 6'5", but he's so good in the air. He's so pivotal to kickouts, and we've seen him dominating that kind of middle third, along with Kilkenny, who, like, to be a shout out to Kieran, like, he's looking around, all his mates are stepping away and leaving, and he's putting the shoulder to the wheel. He's been incredible for Dublin over the first couple of weekends. I think he could have a massive influence on what Dublin do throughout the summer as well, but they were exceptional. Yeah.
He was similar in the air against Mayo.
I wonder, Tommy, is the game going to come down to kickouts as well? Like, because you're saying that they're gone with the big man route. I think that could be a really big factor this year. Like, if you can win that primary ball, you have possession. You get into the opposition half. Now you have an extra man. You can take your time.
Yeah.
Like,
and you got
the way these rules are going to develop. The only rule that I'm questioning now is that goalie one, where you can bring up an extra man. I just wonder why.
This seems to be getting a load of negativity. This is getting a lot of negative press across the board, and I think they're probably going to bin it because of it.
I'm not even giving it negative press here. I'm just questioning it. I'm questioning it because
so that is fucking negative.
It's like we'll do a little bit of a build up, and then what we'll do, we'll get the goalie free. It's like, fuck the goalie. Do you know what I mean? I'd be nearly leaving the goalie back. Leave it 11 on 11 up there, or whatever it is, or whatever.
But James, have you like I can't remember, but is Kelly, you still your goalkeeper in Legion? Like, have you got a fly keeper in Legion? Like, is he going to be coming out the field and selling dummies and kicking points, or are you going to get him to stay in goals? Like, keepers don't have to go out. Like, the kick out is still, we're talking about the kick out here. The kick out is still so important, and I think teams will cop on fairly quickly. the 12v11, it'll be very useful at certain stages. But we're talking there about Kerry not pressing Dublin when Dublin were keeping the ball in the first half. Once teams get used to pressing aggressively again, I just think that 12v11, I don't know. I don't think it's going to cause as much of an issue as it's causing at the minute. I think it's a bit of an anomaly there. I think teams are maybe overusing it a little bit as well. Sure, some teams will have a cheat code like an Niall Morgan or a Rory Began or an Ethan Rafferty, but other teams will have other strengths that they'll be able to lean on the far end of the field.
Absolutely, but I suppose the only concern I have is about that minding the ball. If you're ahead, you can mind the ball in the opposition half. And there's three opposition forwards standing there watching the goalie have the ball because they can't tackle.
Yeah.
But is that not then? Why did Kerry not use that in the second half then? They're 11 points up at half time.
I think they weren't good. They weren't as good as Dublin at it. Like Dublin had it. Dublin were brilliant at it. Like it was like.
Is the thing? You would normally assume Kerry are well able to execute that type of skill. The guys who are all comfortable on the ball, but it's just. Like, we're 3 games into these new rules, and players are still getting used to, and managers. The more games, Kerry, last season they're 11 points up at halftime. There's no way they're losing that game, no chance. So it's a case of we can see how much of an impact the 2-pointers are starting to have. So this is new for teams to adapt to that. Teams, players, and coaches are still figuring out ways to manage these games, and they'll all get better at it. Kerry will learn. I know Jack is probably frustrated because they've lost the game at home, and it puts them under a bit of pressure because they lost to Donegal at home as well. But in the grand scheme of things, Kerry will learn so much from that. And those players and coach going, okay, we just need to be aware of this because it's a situation 100 times out of 100 under the old rules. If Kerry are 11 points up at halftime, they're not going to lose that game. But it just shows. I think that the standout things for me, and Dublin have used this through the likes of Bugler. We've seen teams exit. The strike runner is so crucial. It was important under the old rules, but it's such an advantage now because there's more space and teams, all the teams that have done well, we're talking about Donegal, they've used it really well. We've seen in the Rossies Monaghan game yesterday, we've seen Bugler get man of the match twice for Dublin in the games because there's space to attack now. So teams need to have someone like that in their locker. And then the other thing is the 2-pointer, teams have got to start pushing up on that. Teams are still dropping back into their pockets. Nearly defending like the old ways. Let's just get 12 bodies back and we'll kind of try and fill spaces and let teams play across in front of us. But you've got to start pushing out on 2-pointers now because they're so pivotal in just completely swinging a game for the opposition. And if that 2-point rule isn't there, Dublin wouldn't have won that game on Saturday. So teams have to be far more aggressive in how they defend as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that. Lads, we have a member spot later this week, so there's a couple of players that caught my eye over the weekend that I want to ask you about. And when a younger player or a player on the fringe, you're like, okay, he's got that championship. But we mentioned about Luke Brannock earlier on. Darren McMullen from Armagh, someone I want to ask you about a little later. We saw a bit of him last year. He's very good at the weekend. Conor Hand from Roscommon, who was only 21 on the panel last year. And I just watched him blossom yesterday. He kicks a point and he's like, oh, maybe I'm meant to be here. And then he kicks 2 more, and his next 2 points were unbelievable. He beats like 4 or 5 Monaghan boys. You're talking about that late strike runner. Really, really impressive. And there's a couple of others as well I want to get to. I just want to finish briefly on this. I actually just nearly had a new perspective on the rules playing that game at the weekend. So I threw up a wee story to see has anyone else played a game at club level and what are they seeing in terms of challenges and issues with that. So James, just any other issues or any other things that you noticed from watching the Legion game that you were playing in? I know you kicked that early 2-pointer and then you watched the rest of it. So anything else stand out? Any issues or breaches or problems with the ref? I thought the ref was brilliant in our game. And he didn't have any linesmen or umpires. But
it must be difficult for refs in club games, though, to manage the 3-up thing. Like
it will be.
No umpires, no linesmen. Like we've seen obviously the Kerry Dublin game on Saturday night. The whole stand was basically calling that Dublin had made a breach in the second half, and the ref, it took him nearly 2 minutes to realise it. But at club level, that is going to be so difficult to manage.
And we did have a number of issues. Like we had the Mayo Tyrone one when there was a free awarded for Mayo having 2-up when they were allowed to have 2-up because they had a man black-carded. So there are issues that are happening at county level, but just at club level, Matt Sports Picks got in touch. He was blowing Tralee at the weekend, taking photos of the game as well. Fair play. Watch the good few. refs can't see if a team doesn't have 3 back or 3 up. Robert Purfield, who I know is from in and around Meath, said the ref on the 3 up, it's really hard for them, especially when it's just lads wandering over when play is well away from them. But then Davy Rispin got in touch and he said he reckons, so Davy is at the We Are Meath podcast in Meath, he reckons referees are not getting too bogged down in the 3 up back at the minute. It's virtually impossible for them to police without proper linesmen, which I think it may happen, like if it's not that big a thing. In our game at the weekend, the referee wired up, he mic'd up one of the Cratloe boys that wasn't playing and one of the Monaleen lads. He mic'd up maybe a selector from the other side and he said, look lads, if you see something egregious, let me know in the ears. He goes, I can't follow everything, but if you see something, let me know in the ears. So it was David Collins from Cratloe who was mic'd up on our side, and I just asked
to the ref,
and I asked him, I was like, what's this? Like, are you working with our management today? And he goes, no, I'm mic'd up to the ref here. And I said, well, did you flag at him for him?
right card defence, striking.
Yeah.
Self-policing. See how that goes in the club championship semi-final.
But no, it's not going to be club championship. It's a challenge match. But I just want to tell you this: at halftime, nothing had been flagged. But was talking to him after the game. He flagged his own brother, Sean Collins, for being 3 centimetres over. I got a 3 up breach call against him. So I just want to say the integrity of Cratloe cannot be questioned if he's calling his own brother out. But I think he did that for his own entertainment. But yeah, 1 3 up breach in our one. So I don't know. Did you see any of that, James? Like, there is no linesman, there's no umpires in these challenge games, so they're very early days. Yeah. But there's league games going to be played at the minute as well. So it'll be interesting to hear how it goes there.
I do think you get a better understanding of it playing it, to be honest, because there's so many things going through your head at times. You're kind of like, what was that for? But you know what? What's very interesting is there's nobody getting onto the referees at all. Like, I know it's hard for the refs, some of these rules, but they must be like, Jesus, that was nice. Like, there's no no bitching or nor hounding of no questioning decisions really. It's nice and kind of, it's just a more pleasant atmosphere around the pitch at times. Do you know they had that kind of a bad atmosphere when the crowd are on the ref, the players are on the ref. Do you know, I think that could be a thing of the past with the new rules, which is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, that was our experience at the weekend as well. The culture could be shifting, and it might shift quick enough. Oni, who must be a defender, said, yeah, really good experience so far. A lot more running, though, and rules are definitely favouring the forwards with an emoji. Sorry.
As they should.
Yeah, I don't know the first name of this person on Instagram, but Roach on Moore, played Saturday in a preseason comp. It really speeds things up, and the skills are going to be even more paramount now, which is great to hear, and it's kind of what we suspect. Yeah, stock sport, much more open and enjoyable for a forward or middle eight player. Winning your own kick out can be tough though if you don't have a big target man in the middle. So we know that's going to come down to it. And Preston Keating, we'll leave it at this. Very handy when you're one of the 3 up front. So a lot of the forwards are loving it at the minute. Chaos is another comment. Exhausting, rules sometimes unclear and difficult for ref. 3 up hard to police. It's going to be for a little while. And then Stephen McGlynn, the referees are going to be under a lot of pressure. They are, but I think it'll develop. I think we'll get there as things go. I'm excited, lads. There's no complaints in the football pod so far. These things are going to be ironed out as the year goes ahead. We're taking a chance in 2025. We're trialing these rules, and the entertainment levels have been through the roof so far. Paddy Andrews, James O'Donoghue, that's our Monday lunchtime work done. I'll get the pod out briefly and shortly for people, and we'll be back a little later this week, looking ahead to another cracking round of fixtures, and we'll be getting stuck into the pod picks, where James has managed to get a win at the weekend, but he's still stuck.
I should have had
the Dubs. The Dubs came. Hey, what was the other ones? What were the other games?
Lad, somebody commented on TikTok, 2 out of 9 predictions. What are these boys doing on a podcast?
Yeah, Tommy, stop putting up the scores. Just put up 1 up, 1 down. Don't say.
I came through. The Dubs came through for me. Never in doubt.
We're going to put our necks on the line. That's it. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Paddy James, thanks for your work and keeping an eye on the games at the weekend. It was a treat. Talk to you soon.
All right, boys.
See you later, boys.